Good evening, YouTube. Welcome to another hobby live stream. Feel free to be entertained by David in the window below.
Rummaging.
Currently rummaging for his e-cig and whatever else. As usual, he couldn't find his arse with both hands and a searchlight. So nothing's changed here. Welcome to
Look, we're nothing if not fucking consistent.
Fucking hell.
Bell end.
Professionalism. I'll get us
That's
a jingle.
a dirty word.
Da, 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 da. Right, okay. Hello to everybody in the chat. Cheese Me's becoming very quickly king of the hashtag. Welcome, sir. Orinoco, hello to you. Hello, Paul. Good to see you, mate. I saw you. I saw your Instagram post. I believe you're doing a PDF rule set for your trench offensive game. David and I were talking about that, mate. That's going to have to get bumped up the project list so we can get it on the table. Get a few games in of that. Well, hello, Darren. Good to see you, sir. Fantastic work in your Instagram as always. Hello, Crispin. We because of Ben, to everybody else who's reading the chat. Apologies for the over familiarity from the team here. I know who these people are.
Paul pretends he has friends.
Hello, V. Stroke Skink. Good to see you, sir. Well, welcome to another Yellow Belly Tabletop live stream.
Look.
So, for those of you who haven't joined us before, welcome. What we'll do over the next couple of hours is we will, first of all, discuss with you what hobby we're going to be getting up to while we chat through tonight's show.
Well, my current hobby is looking for my e-cigarette, so this is going really well.
Then we will
Fuck it.
Have a quick chat about what we did at our gaming club on Monday night, because we're both lucky enough to be able to get gaming in at least once a week. We will then have a chat about a bit of news and talk about some YouTube and some other nonsense that's been floating around the internet. About 9 o'clock, we're going to get into our main topic, which, as you'll have seen from our thumbnail and description, is about randomness, or RNG is the sort of like the
buzz phrase,
the gamer tag phrase, which stands for, I believe, random number generation, and we'll discuss basically randomness in gaming. I've done a little note sheet, and we'll try and touch upon as much as we can, because David and I have had some experiences recently, mate, haven't we, where we've really... Experience singular that caused us to start this fucking topic. Well,
because it blew both of our minds.
We certainly did have an experience that perhaps focused it, but I think you and I have discussed, we touch upon this a lot in our games, don't we?
Yeah, we've discussed controlled chaos and things before, so...
Because in a way, this comes down... We did a stream a few months ago about the sort of introduction of critical hits and that. And that's all part of this randomness thing about, basically...
No, See, I disagree on that statement.
Let's come
back
to
that later.
Anyway, so do you want me to go first with what I'm working on tonight?
Yeah, because then I can dive out a shot and get a beverage, and then I can come back and look like I'm all prepared.
Twat. Right, okay. So, what am I up to tonight? So, tonight I will be trying to get some paint on these boys. So, just quick check. Anybody in the chat know what these are without me spoiling it? Limburger's got a few thoughts. Yep.
I'm back.
Limburger's put, Cheese Beast put, the e-cig is next to Paul's plastic glue. Yeah, probably true.
Funny thing is, did you ever find that fucker?
Oh, you see, Darren, you're fast becoming the man with the ideas here. Darren says, I've got a totally non-random miniatures game in mind. It's all deterministic, called The Woods by Oakbound. Okay, You have me intrigued, sir. Hang
Come on,
around for the main topic.
Peaked.
So yes, these are indeed Mantics Chaos Dwarves, or Abyssal Dwarves is the correct terminology in Kings of War.
Are you misidentifying your dwarves again?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be using them as, well, initially I'm going to be playing with these bad boys as Chaos Dwarves in a little Warhammer Slaves to Darkness project that my friend V, Skink, who's in the chat now, will be hopefully getting to the table sometime in the next few weeks.
Oh shit,
So,
I unplugged my compressor. That's not going to go well, is it?
Basically, I've got a unit of 20 of them, all assembled and primed and sprayed with an initial coat of Vallejo Red. Let's see if I can get this in shot.
You went for red? You didn't go for black red?
No. And I've got my colours here, so I'm hoping to start getting some base coats down. These are going to be quick and dirty paint jobs, guys. We're not smashing it. Yes, Gloomhaven is definitely the thing that brought this subject up for us. Good call, Limburger. You've obviously been taking notes and paying attention.
5 points to Gryffindor.
Yeah, so I'm going to be hoping to get some base coats. I've got an idea of basically going for a largely red scheme. We're going to add some greens, coppers, golds, and obviously some blacks at some point, I think. In fact, talking about blacks, I'm going to be trying this metallic black ice from Turbo Dog.
Ooh, spicy. Are you going to brush that or paint that, airbrush that?
I don't know. I think I'm probably going to be brushing it because I want to use it as a detail paint on maybe some armor panels and stuff. But that Mr. Shy, who was on the what are they called? The company,
Exit 23.
Exit 23. I always want to say Gate 23, like I'm some sort of fucking airport. Exit 23 he was on their stand at this year's UKGE, and I said to him, just recommend me some colours. And he said, I know you're going to think I'm insane, but until you have had a metallic black, you've never realised how much you need in a metallic black. So we're going to give it a go. So that's what I'm going to be up to, mate. What about you?
Hang on. Come down to my camera, and we're going to play a little game.
Oh.
Do you want to play a game?
Right. This may go X-rated, people. I do apologise if it does.
What is currently under David's hands?
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting brass on there. In fact, I have my copper.
Brass or bronze? Bronze. Bronze.
Well, I've got copper. I've got Vallejo copper and Vallejo brass here in my selection of paints.
The big reveal.
Hey!
The big reveal. We've got flames. We're going to be painting some flames. And then this week, I've been a little industrious 3D printing bellend.
Ooh. Oh, this is some of your 15mm terrain.
This is Kings and Countries Kickstarter scaled down to baby 15mm.
On your new and improved FDM printer.
Yes, on my direct drove FDM printer.
Do you know what? To be fair, I don't know if you're geared up for it, but it might be worth you breaking that down at some point, because you've done a fairly major renovation job on your FDM printer.
Hang on, boys and girls at home, because I haven't put it back where it lives.
I don't know if you want to do it now or when you want to do it later.
Ta-da!
Do you want me to put you on a big cam? No, he's put it down. So
yeah, I ripped the extruder off it and replaced it. Because I was fucking fed up.
But to be fair, I don't know, because it's obviously you can get into the technical crunch, and I'm sure, although I don't know necessarily if many of you guys are 3D printing wizards, there probably are people who watch the stream that might actually be interested in the whole, what was it, Bowden tube versus
this is direct drive
thing. if you know what that means, feel free to have a drink, because it's all Chinese to me. But it sounded quite interesting when David was explaining it, and it has dramatically improved the performance of your.
Yes, I can go more than
FDM,
5 prints without it getting jammed, which is a vast improvement.
Right, coolio. So you're going to be
3D printing is the evil. Cheese me. I will beg to differ.
Yeah.
Because I also currently have the final piece of the Mantic puzzle for my dwarves and Armada done as well.
Yeah.
On the resin.
Crispin, I mean, Crispin would be on your wavelength. Crispin's asking to go. Did you go direct drive? So he obviously knows the difference.
Yes, I did go direct drive.
And
I did.
You basically got like a whole conversion kit to convert the printed head on your machine, didn't you?
took. So it's Crispin, and for everybody else at home, I apologise. It's a Voxel Lab Aquila, which is a clone of the Ender 3 machine. I ripped off the Bowden drive from Voxelab because it's shit, and it just kept jamming, and I have replaced it with a Creality Sprite Pro extruder. So I now have direct drive and capability to print up to 300 degrees Celsius, because fuck it, why not? So I'm going to glove up, get some primer down on these.
I was just about to ask you, you showed us the models, but you haven't really said what you're doing. So are you priming your terrain and the remainder of your models?
I'm not going to prime the terrain yet, because I've printed, at the moment, 6 L pieces, 3 T pieces, 4 curves, some end caps, and I've got a 12-hour print to do at some point for some straights.
Okay.
Then I'm going to commandeer you and see if we have enough coverage for a 4x4 table.
Oh, okay.
If we do then I will paint it all.
Yep.
If not, I will fucking do some more.
Oh, I tell you what else you should show off on stream. I don't know if you've got them handy, but David bought some Rhodes, 15mm Rhodes.
Yes, I do, actually. Before I get too gloved up,
do you want to stick them under the camera? Because
let me move
impressed.
shit. Let me move shit.
Limburger, did they reverse the polarity on the neutral frame? Look, it's all very well you guys mocking, but I do it all the time, and he's not going to even blink.
I don't bite. I don't bite anymore. I don't.
Flux quantum ionizer.
I don't bite anymore because I've played this stupid game with a stupid ginger-haired prick, and I'm past giving a flying fuck.
Oh dear. Right, now I've shown you what I'm up to. Let's get rid of that camera.
Go down to my camera again then.
Okay,
Let's have a look at these.
David, so yeah, look at these bad boys.
15mm dirt roads.
Fully flexible. Bendy wendy.
Very, very flexible.
Now, you bought these off an eBay seller?
Yes, I can't remember the name. There was a review that recommended them, and I went and found his store, and I bought them. So I spent 45 of my great English pounds on some road junctions, some nice straight roads, good 12 inches long.
It's the first time he's ever seen something that big.
Fuck off, you ginger cunt. I am not playing.
Yes, you're talking about Black Magic Crafts, Limburger. Indeed, there was.
They are similar to Black Magic Crafts.
Yeah, but we took the lazy bastard route, and to be honest with you, you got a massive box full of shit for 40 odd quid.
45 quid. I got what?
An insane amount of roads.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straights, 4 like windy roads, 4 dog legs, 4 45-degree ones. Thank you. Can people hear me or not?
Yes, you can. That's your mother coming to bring your
Yes,
e-cig.
my mother has just helped me and brought my e-cig.
Thanks,
so
Mum. Cheers,
yeah.
Mum.
4 45-degree curves, a single 90, and then some junctions.
Sweet.
more than enough for a 6x4 table, I
way
think.
more. Yeah, and to be honest with you, they're well textured. Darren's asked what they're made out of. Honestly, don't know for certain, Darren. But
Like a rubber matting.
It looks like that flexible rubber matting that you would see on safety floors. I'm sure
Rubber
it's
matting.
probably that. But it's got a basic sort of like gravel-esque dirt texture, some heavy dry brushing, and then all pre-flocked. You literally just open the box, take them out, and play them. I tell you what,
makes them to order. Okay, it shed that much
in
flocking while in transport, and it's still shedding a little bit now.
You could always spray them with a bit of PVA. Yeah.
And again, I can reapply the fucker.
Yeah.
When they do eventually fall to pieces, because static grass is a bastard.
We saw the reviews. We actually did this when we were at UKGE, didn't we, mate?
Yes.
We were in the hotel restaurant, and David said, "Look, we're getting into flames. We need some 15mm terrain kit. David's going to bite the bullet on this and start building the terrain set for the games."
Hence 3D printing.
If you think they look good on camera, I can assure you they look better in the flesh. They look damn good.
And
for 40 odd quid.
To top it off, things I did this week. I went to a local model shop and I bought some Woodland Scenics armatures. So I have 28 armatures and some clump foliage to apply to them for 28 of my English pounds.
David. David
so
will
far
send me the link later. And
we'll put it in the...
I put it in the description of the video. Because I'll be honest, having seen the first lot, I'm now going to go and buy a metallized 28mm tarmac set, pretty much the same. Obviously they're bigger roads, larger pieces, they're a bit more expensive, but they're still, for me, given the amount of labour that's gone into that, I couldn't do it. It's like no brainer, mate. Take my fucking money. I'm in. Done.
I got 28 3 to 5 inch armatures and the light green clump foliage for 28 quid. That wasn't from Hobbycraft. That was from a hobby store over in Kings Lynn that sells a lot of train stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you showed me you started shaping some of the armatures. Have you started gluing yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah, so
because what I'm going to do is batch the entire lot up, strip all the entire lot from their injection marks and everything.
Sweet.
Paint them, dry brush them, apply clump foliage to them.
Yeah, we might come back to you with some details in the future, guys, on that little project. But there are a million people on YouTube who've done great projects. So.
The other thing I saw, and this was actually on the YouTubes last night. We're going to just go to YouTubes now on my phone because God bless that. Miniature Realms has done a really nice video about Empires at War's 15mm terrain stuff that they've got.
If it's worth sharing, mate, just zap me it and I will either put it in the description box, or I'll even put it on a share and we can show the people later.
Yeah, he shows off how to paint them and how to do them. What do you want it? Dick sword?
I don't care, mate. Whatever. Discord, Messenger, don't give a damn.
That's fine. But he's got some really nice terrain. They're nice and cheap. MDF. They're really nice as well. They're more true scale than other stuff. And it's again another company that we were looking at UK Games Expo. Of where we're going to buy some bits and pieces from to make a ruined farm.
Yep, just as like a centerpiece for our table. Should be good. As you know, we're very much iterators. I'm sure if you can search the internet and find people who are way more competent to us at various hobby tasks. But we're here just to bring you the touchstone of what we're up to. So. Gaming night, Monday, mate. Do you want to go first on that?
What did I get up to Monday?
You and Luke were playing...
Right. So me and Luke played some God Tier.
Mm.
We were meant to play some 10th edition or some OPR 10th edition.
Now, everybody, sit down. because what comes next will be a revelation. That
David couldn't find his fucking miniatures! David spent an hour and a half looking for his miniatures. He had them 3 weeks ago when he tidied his bedroom. Cannot find them for fucking love nor money.
So, if anybody finds a Salamander's
some salamanders
in the lost
some
luggage,
Tau, because Tau have also disappeared, other than my unbuilt Storm Surge.
If you find any in the lost property office of your local railway station, they may be David's. So if you could let us know, that would be great. Report in the comments below any sightings of lost 40k armies. What a tool. So basically, you managed to dodge. I still think he's lying because he didn't want to play 10th edition.
Genuinely, I cannot find them. I genuinely cannot find them. I can find my fucking bolt action army. I can find my fucking unbuilt fucking Death Guard and everything else. Cannot find my Sallies or my Tau.
Look, have you seen Orinoco's comment?
That'll be with the Venetian train set. Yep. Next to my e-cig. Well, my e-cig's just been delivered. Thanks, Mum. So...
I've actually found my Venetian terrain as well, so we know they're not there.
You say that, but I still haven't seen proof that it's alive.
Well,
so
I might have to get it all painted for next week.
I thought you was about to say something else that could have been clipped out there for the rather cruder audience.
What were you thinking I was going to say?
About you getting it out.
Well, I'll have to get it out. There you go. Somebody, if Tim's not here, I've not seen Tim in the chat. I'm assuming he's gaming again. Dear. Or he's recovering from his hangover from Tuesday night because he was on a bit of a bender on his own stream, which was quite funny.
What was the other thing I was going to say? So instead, we played some God Tier. So we played 2 games of God Tier. It was all right. Luke won one. I won
V
one.
to the rescue. He's going to be flogging his Tau.
Once you've pulled them out of storage, but where are they, V? Where are they?
I'm sure he's got a better idea.
You'll probably be able to find them quicker than I can.
Yeah, to be fair.
So yeah, played some God Tier.
It'll be easier to find the Ark of the fucking Covenant than find your lost shit.
Luke won a game. I won a game. It was quite good. Both games were over by turn 3, because for those that haven't watched previous streams where we've mentioned God Tier, really nice and weird mechanic on the scoring that turn 1 you score a point, turn 2 you score 2, turn 3 you score 3, turn 4 you score 2, and turn 5 you score 1. First to 5 VP wins. So it makes turn 3 a really fucking crucial turn to win. So yeah, we played some of that, and then after that we played some Radlands, and Luke fucking enjoyed it because he's not a fucking hypocrite like you.
I'm not a hypocrite. I told
Can you
you
even say the words?
I told you I wasn't expecting to enjoy it when you bought it.
Look, that's not my fault and or problem.
But yeah, you knew it would be right on Luke Street though, didn't you?
Yes.
For the art style and everything.
Yes, I did.
Right. So...
Also, bear in mind that I don't only play games with you. I do have other friends. I know we stream regularly and I constantly gate crash your house. But the point stands.
Well, to be fair, that's why I said to everybody right at the beginning of the show, when I was, I consider us, we're quite lucky because our club has got some really good guys in it. I think I consider ourselves quite privileged with the gaming club that we have, and the friends that we have.
Stop fucking rubbing it in.
What's Darren doing now? See, look, there's a man who's organised. Skink can have them Monday. Oh dear, you guys.
Look, I got home last night. Right, bear in mind, this is me, and you're going to just see a snippet into my life right now.
Do you know what? I do not shame on me. I do not have sad violin music to queue up.
I got home last night and was like, I need my wallet to purchase something. Guess which dickhead left his wallet at work on the desk? That would be me.
Dickhead. Honestly, mate. Yeah, do you know what? It's a good job you weren't born 500 years into the future, was it? Because if you had
Why?
cybernetic implants, you'd fucking lose them. Oh my god, what a mess your life is.
Wow.
So, what did I
Fucking
get
hell.
up to Monday? I basically am becoming a complete Mantic fanboy. And although I don't have any pictures, because like I always do, I was enjoying the game so fucking much. Photographing it was the last thing on my mind. But what I actually did was went back to Dead Zone and revisited it. Now, I haven't played Dead Zone since first edition. For those who don't know, Dead Zone is Mantic's equivalent to Games Workshop's Kill Team. So it's a far future, very low model count, skirmish style war game. It's got a very unique feel because it's based on a sort of grid system.
Yes, for all your movements.
Instead of being free movement, you have an 8x8 gridded map, and then you have vertical cubes of 3 inches. So you move around in this gridded block when you move. It's fantastic. It's a brilliant game. I really enjoyed it. Considering that I haven't played since first edition, so I haven't played Dead Zone. I bought the second edition stuff, so I had the start set and some models. I had my Marauder collection from first edition, which is what I ran with, my Marauder Commando mob. But I really enjoyed it. And considering Ricky, my opponent, awesome opponent, Ricky had never played before. We played Firefight together, so he's played other Mantic games, but not this one. We still managed to get 2 games in comfortably in a club session, including having to go back to Ricky's to get some terrain, because we realised although the club has the 3rd edition starter set, the clips, you can't really put the stuff together on the fly because the clips just aren't robust enough. It was just easier to go and get Ricky's painted Firefight stuff, which is actually based on Mantic's 3-inch block terrain, and just set that down on the map, than it was to actually faff about with the club stuff. So even though we wasted probably the first 45 minutes on setup and getting ourselves going, we still got two games in. It's a great game. For anybody who's not tried it, it's fast, it's punchy, and I pretty much got the rules. By turn 2, it was like 150, mate. We went sort of slap bang in the middle, 150 points, Enforcers versus Marauders. Even though I had Ripper suits and he had Peacekeepers, which, for those who don't know, they're both, if we're familiar with what the concept of a Terminator is from 40k, think very heavily armoured, power-suited infantry. The Marauders have what are called Ripper suits, and the Enforcers have Peacekeepers, but essentially they're the same idea, just in the different armies. They both were heavily armoured and virtually untouchable by the rest of the models that we both brought. But the great thing about Dead Zone is the way the missions are structured. If there's something you can't deal with through outright aggression, you can still play the mission and achieve things without throwing yourself against the wall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
The system impressed the shit out of me. I don't miss. The first edition had some weird thing around like unit cards. I prefer the way the command dice work in this system. In the second and third edition, they've kept the same system of command dice. That works way better. Just a great game. Absolutely great game. I love the way that shooting is easy but very difficult to make it super effective. Assault is way easier to push in your favour, but is not so easy to pull off, because obviously you've got everything's got quite limited movement. Great game. As I say, for those of you who are not converts to Mantic games, check it out. It's a fantastic game, and this is not the first time or the last time we'll be talking about Mantic tonight.
Is it not?
No, it is not, sir. So that's what I did at club, and the other thing is, it was great to play with models that I've not touched for like 5 years, 6, 7, 8 years. Jesus Christ, I don't even know. Who can tell me when Dead Zone was in its first edition? Honestly, Darren,
Back in my day.
the hobby overhead is minimal. It's so easy to play. I tell you the other thing about it. It does have a lot of moving parts that have a lot in common with war games. The way that shooting works, combat works, the whole stat line of the miniatures. But because the movement is on that grid-based approach, I think it's a really, really good system for first-timers. If you're a new gamer who likes board games and is thinking, I'd like to do something with miniatures, put Dead Zone on your list. Absolutely do it, because I think it's definitely there as an entry-level game. Now, the only thing I will say, there are a lot of layers. So you have the basic mission parameters. You then have random items scattered on the map, which are like ammo and upgrade grenades that might be left from previous combats. You then have secret objectives, and but what Ricky and I did was we just peeled back the layers for our first game. Sod secret objectives, sod the items, just do a basic mission, and the game still worked. Although there's a lot of layering in the game, I think it's one of them ones you can easily tune pieces out to get it to do what you want. Yeah. I would definitely stand by that, Darren. It is a very good game for somebody who's brand new to minis. And again, very, very low overhead. I mean, I had 9 miniatures. Ricky, 150 points. I had 9 miniatures with 2 Ripper suits. Ricky had 7, I think. Okay, Paul, welcome back. So yeah, that was it. Dead Zone. Done.
Completed it, mate.
Completed it. Finished it. Right, should we talk about some internet-y stuff?
Should we do the news?
Yeah. It's not really news. We call it news every week, but here is the news. It's not fucking news. Basically, it's what we found on the internet and thought that was really cool. If you want proper news, so like who's released what and when, go to OnTableTop. OnTabletop.com, best news, wargaming news site on the internet. Go there. So, what do I want to talk about? I want to give this bloke a shout out again. I did it 2 weeks ago, I think it was, but I'm going to do it again. Ninjon, big pal of Miniac, YouTuber, primarily focused on miniature painting. Yet again, this man, I really like the cut of his jib. I really like his approach to his videos. This video was basically about painting Tyranids really quick, really easy, no fuss. You would almost, basically he was exploring washes and shades. This would be almost what you would call a base coat wash done strategy. He did do some highlights and some dry brushing, but again, why is Ninjon different? I mean, the video is not particularly groundbreaking. For those of us who have been painting for decades, he's not covering any new ground. In fact, he's basically going back to quite basic things. But Ninjon, in his video repertoire, he is offering so much variety for painters. He is covering all the bases. If you want some fucking freakish weird video based on exotic colour theory and almost impressionistic style display painting, yes, he's got that. If you just want a bare bones how to master basic techniques, how to get shit painted quickly, how to design a colour scheme, he's got that. And he's got everything in between. Great channel. Absolutely great channel. Because normally, if you take, like, I mean, again, I do like Miniac. I love his presentation style. I love Scott's character. Do I enjoy his videos? Not very much, generally, because it's a level of painting and a level of obsession that I am never going to get into. And so there's just nothing, it doesn't offer me anything. Ninjon, though, absolutely banging. Can't recommend highly enough. Do you have any thoughts on Ninjon, mate? Do you watch
I haven't
stuff?
watched any content in a while.
Okay.
I know that's probably a bit egregious to say this, but I've been going through a bit of a YouTube dry spell. I'm busy.
So
I'm a
it's
busy
not
boy.
just Ninjon. You're just not consuming much YouTube at all at the minute.
No, I'm trying to get shit done. I'm trying to get 3D printing done. I'm trying to do other shit. Do you know what I mean?
I'll be honest. Talking about it, Limburger, cheese me. I liked the red-green colour scheme. Because
the Christmas tree colour scheme.
In the video, Ninjon basically did he did a blue-grey scheme, let's call it, and he did a green-red scheme for his Tyranid models. The blue-grey one is very reminiscent of some of the GW's house schemes. The green-red one is like lovely. It's a great scheme, and really unusual. So that was my favourite of the two. What else can we pull out of Plastic Crack Podcast? Now, some of you guys who are in the chat might have seen these guys. They do a lot of historical stuff. That's their main focus. They call, shall we say, more mainstream gaming is called weird shit. So they don't tend to cover that in any great detail. But this,
I'm out of paint.
Basically, they do something that's very similar to us. They just sit and you get stream of consciousness. They just chat shit. This stream, the topic was really interesting. Their topic was, what can historical gaming learn from 40k? And they were basically just stream of consciousness, spitballing what things could the historical wargaming sector do to expand their reach and grow to be successful like GW have been. Yeah, you're still appearing, Cheese Me. So, yeah, it's a really interesting stream. I'll be honest, Darren. The thing is, it's a bit like our content. I would. We're in this niche in YouTube. Sometimes you want a big 2-hour show to fill a chunk of time while you just get something done, so that you can listen more than watch and enjoy the company of some like-minded people and just have a laugh. But I don't think it's no shame on anyone if you don't religiously watch one of these every week. It's I mean
Not the end of the world.
I love this. I love Plastic Crack. I love Modelling for Advantage. I love Blackjack Legacy's live stream. Do I get a chance to watch all of them every week? No, because like if I did that, I would do nothing but watch live streams. But this one I would recommend just for the topic. They touch upon some really interesting things, and I'll be honest, I'm a bit jealous. If David and I had got more experience in the historical wargaming sector, this would have been a topic I'd have loved for us to tackle. But again, we're more mainstream gaming, so it wouldn't have really been a good fit for us. But they're great guys. It's a great show, and it's a great topic. Yeah. Yes, that is. Did you see Limburger's comment about your airbrush, mate?
No.
We're currently listening to the airbrush ASMR channel, so I think they're finding it.
I'm sorry.
It's a bit invasive. I don't know if you want to go on mute.
Not particularly.
Well, that fucking told you lot, didn't it?
Love you guys. Oh, I tell you what, I haven't told you yet, Ginge. There is news.
What?
The medium t-shirts turned up today.
Ooh, have you tried them on? Do they actually?
No, I
fit?
haven't.
Have you checked to see if they're the right fucking size?
They are actually all medium. I did check that.
Yes. Impressed as we were with the quality of the print work on the t-shirts we ordered last time, they were the wrong size, and it certainly made my pot-bellied, fat, middle-aged body not very flattering. So David's got them.
It accentuated things.
So we've reordered them in the correct size, so we'll be able to show those off on live streams in the future. So yeah. So that's another thing that I sort of like found time to watch this week on YouTube. You haven't had much news. I don't know if you haven't sent me any links. Is there anything you wanted to talk about or touch on?
That Empire thing that I did send you.
The Empire thing. Is that in Messenger?
No, it's in Discord.
It's in Discord. Right, I shall try and find it.
Off it goes.
Oh, the thing you've just sent me.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let me...
We can walk and talk. So yeah, while we're on the topic of flames and painting shit for flames,
yeah,
I've been doing a bit of research about 15mm buildings and options and stuff, and I already have some plans. Like the King and Country Kickstarter that I have and is 3D printed has a very nice ruins church that we're going to do at 15mm, doesn't it, mate?
Yeah, you did say that you wanted to get the church done.
So I'm currently thinking like a ruined church, a ruined farmhouse, and possibly a couple of ruined houses from Empires of War.
Right.
Because they're pre-coloured MDF, and we love a bit of pre-coloured MDF on this channel. Bollocks, I just dropped the tank.
I was going to say, if you can... pre-coloured is definitely where I am at. If I can get my terrain where I just basically put it on the table and play, I'm up for that. Every day of the week.
Well, I had a tank. I've dropped a tank and it's disappeared.
You'll find it. I'm just trying to queue up this Miniature Realms video.
Yeah.
Try and find a good shot for the people.
But
Ooh.
Yeah.
I do like it.
He's just done a little bit of tarting with some. Wait for it. Citadel contrast, boys and girls.
Okay, so talk us through the video, because obviously I haven't watched it.
So what he's done is he's doing like a review for Empires of War because it's a company that doesn't really get spoken about or reviewed much or anything like that.
So Empires of War make these 15mm MDF
Yep.
kits.
You can get them pre-colored. You can even, if you pay a little bit of a premium, get them pre-assembled for you.
Oh, now then, are these an eBay seller?
No, they're a website.
Okay, because did we go through the website when you were here on
Yes,
Saturday
we did.
night? Yeah, I remember. This is all coming back to me now. So yeah, this guy buys the kits. What, gives you a little bit of a review of the kits?
Yeah, and then tells you a little bit on how he got them better. Did you find your Sally's towel down there? Fuck off, V.
That's a no. How about no? Anyway, carry on.
No, I'm done now. That's the news, boys and girls. V has ruined it for the lot of you.
Oh my god.
Because I'm not a petty bitch.
But
anyway, what he does is he gets them, builds them, gives a little review of the build and the scale of them compared to, like, for example,
they look very nice.
The stuff you can get at Sarissa and other things.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he also does a little bit of a tutorial on how he does, like, the burnt out smoke effect. And grabbing some Citadel contrast and airbrushing that shit on.
Ooh. This sounds really intriguing. I will definitely be watching this video.
Definitely worth a watch, and I'm definitely stealing some of those ideas for my Flames of War terrain.
Really nice. Yeah, I can see. They look really good. Yeah, that's really cool. Really cool.
And they're not expensive. I mean,
somebody educate the ignorant in chat. Did Sarissa only do 28mm?
No,
or do they do 15 at other scales?
They also do 15.
I'm not sure. Is that right? I do own some Sarissa 28mm stuff myself.
Where's a Jerry when you need him?
I'll have to get a salt shaker on the chat at this rate, you guys.
Fucking. Who have I pissed off this evening?
No, he's just saying about GW contrast being more expensive than gold leaf. That is fucking funny. They do other scales. Thank you, Paul. Okay, I wasn't sure. But they do other scales. That's cool. So, right, okay, mate. Well, thanks for sharing. What have I... Right, we're now going to talk about Mantic, and we're going to be boring. If you're not into Mantic, turn off now.
No, you'll hurt our viewership.
So, Mantic have been releasing tons of videos around this firefight update. So, for those of you who don't know, Mantic are updating their Firefight 2nd edition. They've made a few rules tweaks. I don't think they're calling it a full new edition. They've changed some stuff. None of it's core rules, so they haven't changed the way that the basic turn construct works, or movement, or shooting, or that sort of thing. There are some changes to assault, I believe, and the way that assault resolution works. They've added a new action of Overwatch, so that you can actually set units into Overwatch to shoot and defend themselves. They've
been taking a leaf out of GW's book.
Yeah, they've just tweaked is the word. Tweaked is a good word for what they've done. So they've done that to the core Firefight offering, but then they've also added a whole new game mode called Annihilation, which has its own dedicated missions. And essentially, what Annihilation does is it's designed to work. It's basically a game mode that allows you... no, GW didn't invent Overwatch, Jerry. We know that. I think David's more sort of saying the fact that Overwatch has been a thing in 40k for a while. That's just all he's saying. But good to see you here, by the way, mate. So
Why is it
Annihilation.
I always bring him out of lurking?
So it's because he's got to correct you, because somebody has to. So Annihilation is basically playing Firefight, but with the emphasis very much on vehicles. And what I love about the approach, now I haven't played any games yet, I haven't bought the rules yet, but trust me, I will be doing. What I love is Mantic have got this design, they've got the design awareness to realise you can't just take your game and then just put more shit on the table and expect it to just work. They've got the design awareness to realise that if you're going to completely invert the dynamic of your game, you might have to change the way armies are constructed, you might have to change the way missions operate.
But, Paul, I hear you protest. Where's the fun in changing the rules? Sorry, Salt.
What's the fun in changing the rules to make them work? No idea, mate. No idea at all.
It's overrated to have your rules work.
So, yes. And so they've added this new game mode called Annihilation, and then what they've done is they're doing showcase videos to show off all of the vehicles, heavy armored walkers, heavy artillery pieces for all of the factions. I've got the Forge Fathers one up here because that's obviously my first love in terms of firefight. That's the army I own currently.
Space Dwarves.
Although I probably will be expanding my collection. I'm not sure who to go for as a second faction, but I can't see me not having a second faction in Firefight before the end of next year at least.
Marauders.
Yeah, I did think about Marauders. I keep being drawn to the Asterians though, because...
No, that's mine! Get the fuck off!
Okay. Maison Labs doesn't appeal to me, which is the new one. Enforcers. Maybe GCPS? Maybe, which is sort of like the normie human guard equivalent sort of thing.
Asterians are mine. Asterians are the only ones I like the aesthetic of. I will fight you to the death for them.
Plague is probably the most unique. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, Maison Labs gets... So they've released a book, and I can't remember what the book's called. Shame on me. Oh my God, Orinoco. Via Min. What a fool I have been. I have seen the light.
Somebody's buying space rats.
Oh my God, yes. Space rats. It's got to be done. Why did I... Oh, mate. Because the vehicle...
Actually, that's the point. I completely overlooked the Veermin as well.
Wow. How did I not think... Yes. Thank you, Orinoco. Right. Here it is. Official live decision. I will definitely be buying Veermin as my second faction. But, man alive. I mean... I guess they're a bit Marmite. I've seen people slag them off, but I really rate the Forge Father vehicles. I think the design aesthetic is amazing. I really, really love this sort of bizarre cheese wedge look. The dreadnoughty robots I'm not so, frenziedly happy with. They're a bit vanilla for me, but the tanks have got such a distinctive look, man alive. And essentially the bikes as well. Holy shit, get some bikes!
Oh shit, I've just got paint all over my phone screen. Fuck.
That's not going to work very well.
Fuck.
Get some solvent on that, it'll be fine. So yeah. Basically, so they've created this new game mode. They're promoting using vehicles and huge games of space fighting, and then at the same time they've sort of like expanded their range of vehicle kits. and they've created a load of resin options to give you more flexibility about the way you build vehicles. I think they've created like bundle buys where you can get discounts for buying like multiples of bigger vehicles in various armies. So like I know that the Forge Father ones, Jerry will correct me if I'm wrong, you can buy them in threes with a lot of resin accessories to upgrade them and put them in different configurations, and you get like a bundle set that gives you a discount. So, oh mate, so excited for this.
See, I haven't played a game of this yet, and I think we should add this to the list at some point.
I think you will like it. I mean, you did initially play 40k, didn't you? I don't know why my YouTube is on bloody why it's decided to skip on to the next video. But you did enjoy 40k initially, didn't you, mate? I think you'd like Firefight because it's just such a fucking great game. It's so easy to play.
I gotta be good though.
Well, if I get a second faction, I mean, borrow Ricky's Enforcers if you want to. If you want to try it, fuck it. Bring your
Yes, but you know, try before you buy with me always ends up in...
With you buying.
Ooh, yeah.
Just let me collect a Vermin army and then you can try it when I've got 2 full forces. Just keep kicking it into the long grass. And I'll build a collection and you can play the games when you want. My last video share, with 5 minutes to go before 9 o'clock, is Ash's podcast, Infinity Podcast, which is called Tactical Awareness. So they're up to episode 31 of their first series. This is obviously Infinity focused, so if you're not into Infinity, you will not enjoy this. However, I will say this is probably the episode that's the exception, because even if you're not necessarily into Infinity, what this episode largely focuses around is gamesmanship and good sportsmanship and conduct.
How to not be that guy.
Obviously, it is set within a context of why do we not see so many toxic gamers in Infinity, and Ash makes a strong case because of the way Infinity works as a game, because it's highly interactive and it really breaks down if somebody, because it's got hidden and open information. If you're that sort of guy, you very quickly get sort of like pushed out of the Infinity crowd because you just make the game unplayable if you don't bring good sportsmanship in your repertoire of skills. And he does make quite a compelling argument from that point of view. But him and his co-hosts, whose names have completely gone because I'm a 50-year-old man who's shit, his co-hosts bring loads of sort of like war stories from there's an Age of Sigmar example. There's a 40k story, there's a War Machine example, so that they bring loads of examples of good and poor sportsmanship that they've encountered in their gaming careers. And it's a really good podcast. Obviously no video, so great one to stick on and listen while you work. I have shouted these guys out before, but as I say, if you're into Infinity, you should watch all of their or listen to all of their podcasts because it's great content. If you're not into Infinity, I would still recommend this one, episode 31, series 1. The title being A Hooligan's Game Played by Gentlefolk. So yeah, give that a look.
I have some other news.
Oh my god, let's go to the main screen then. Let's all lean forward on our chairs expectantly. What is your news?
War Machine? What the fuck are you doing? I was meant to be playing War Machine on Monday.
Actually,
with a certain ginger fucker.
This is a good shout.
And unfortunately, we can't play. We've had to make alternative arrangements because you haven't got all your shit in your app.
Yeah. Here's Privateer Press. Here's a tip, right? If you want me to adopt your new game, your new rule set, and move forward with you to the new horizon, don't make my shit redundant and unplayable. Okay? I have
just a handy tip there.
I have Kaya Wildborn for Circle Orboros. She has no rules for Mark IV War Machine. So in the current edition of War Machine, I cannot play my model. And I don't have any alternative clusters. I don't have 500 fucking War Machine models. I have a collection that I used to list build and play with in Mark III. And I can't. So, yeah.
Paul, I have a point here.
Yeah.
I have a point.
Yeah, go on.
Maybe we're not playing it how the game was intended to be played.
What do you mean?
Because we're actually playing with miniatures and not bases.
Ooh!
Shots fired, anybody?
Salt.
Look, I'm on one tonight. I can't help it.
Salt. Yeah. Obviously, for those of you in the know, War Machine did have a rep back in the day as being the competitor's game, and it was not uncommon because there were no... No, Jerry, I have looked on every option. Now, I have War Room 2, which is the Mark III app. I've looked in the new War Machine app, and I know that there's loads of play modes, like you go into Legacy and whatever it is, Prime. You select Prime Circle Orboros. There are about 5 or 6 casters that have rules in Prime Orboros at the minute, but there is no Kaya rules. I immediately thought, well, I'm being thick, so I went on the old internet, and it says, no, there are currently no Kaya Wildborn rules for Mark IV. They will get to it at a time unspecified. So until that time arrives, I cannot play without buying more models. And I'll be honest, I'm not averse to buying more War Machine models, but if you want to piss me off, make me buy models because you want to make me, not because I want to buy them. At that point, you can fuck off.
Cheese Me says today's episode needs to come with a salt warning.
Just saying. I was be honest, and it did annoy me because I was looking forward to trying Mark IV.
We've been discussing this for months about trying Mark IV off stream.
If I am being an idiot, Jerry, and you have the app and want to go in there and find Kaya Wildborn and then DM me on Discord and say you're a fucking dickhead, it's there. Just go here, click this, ba-boom-ba-bing. Do it. I'll eat it up. I'll eat my humble pie, and I'll be grateful for it. No, okay, that's fine. But as I say, I'm perfectly willing to eat some humble pie if it means I get to play Mark IV. But at the moment, I can't see any way for me to do it. That is true. What was I even thinking?
It's technology, and he's a technophobe.
Why would I have an app? Yeah, they may have said it, Jerry, but like I say, mate, I can't find it. And as I say, the internet seems to agree with me.
First times for everything.
And again, War Machine, one of the issues that perhaps it got into was it did get a bit big. It did get a bit bloated. What with War Machine and Hordes, and about 8 factions for each side, and about 20 casters for each faction, it did get a little bit out of hand. And perhaps you know, maybe there's a thing where it's like they're just like, come on guys, give us a break. We're not going to be able to remap all of this shit. Blah, blah, blah. which is, yeah, okay. But, you know, does disenfranchise people who've paid money? You know, you're taking away the ability for me to play my toys in your new game. But that's fine. I can still play Mark III. And again, I'm not an uber competitive super gamer, which is why I don't have a collection of 500 miniatures. You know, so I can perfectly happily play Mark III with a few friends of mine who do enjoy the game without it being like bad.
Egregious.
You know, we haven't got anybody in our circle who's going to bring a busted, broken Mark III list and win every time, because we're lucky in that we don't have anyone like that in our circle. So it's not the end of the world, but it did annoy me. This sort of thing always annoys me because, again, as somebody said in chat, this is the stunt, this is the kind of stunt that alienates Games Workshop, you know, from the more established hobbyists, pushing you in a particular direction because, yeah, it's like, I am so fucking glad I didn't buy into Aeronautica Imperialis, because if I read it right, haven't they just binned every single Xenos model from Aeronautica?
Yes, they have!
I mean, are you fucking serious? I am so fucking glad I didn't touch that game with somebody else's. So fucking glad, because that would have pissed me right off.
Yeah, but you could have still played it. It's just a dead game. And we're not averse to a dead game on this channel.
No, but I've said it before. If I want to play a fucking dead game, I'll go and seek out the original Gorka Morka on eBay, or fucking, you know, Warhammer Quest, or Mordheim, or I may as well buy rare collectibles, because they're fucking dead games, but at least they're rare collectibles. Fucking wankers. Yeah, I know exactly why they've done it, Limburger, because they want it to be heresy and only the heresy. Yeah, or just play Dead Zone. Orinoco's making sense. Just play Mantic games. Because they don't want to fucking manipulate you like some fucking weird psychological...
No. Mantic do want to manipulate you, but into buying more shit because it's good.
Well, yeah, which is fine.
You know? I'm all for this emotional manipulation.
The thing is, though, but even when they're selling me shit, they're selling me it so cheap it's ridiculous. I mean, if you want more details, I think Jerry covered it in either the front stage or the backstage this week when they were talking about there's a tank that they've adopted from Archon Studios, which is usable by... Again, they bring out a vehicle. You can use it in Marauders, GCPS. Do you know what I mean? They've made it very usable. They've bought it from another company and added some resin pieces to customize it and make it their own. And it's fucking cheaper than buying it from the other place. Because they're Mantic. And they're fucking, you know, it's like, so you want a great game, great rule set, great value for money proposition. Anything else we can give you before you leave? No, that's fine. I think you've pretty much covered it. Thanks very much. Yeah. I mean,
again,
this is why Mantic are becoming what, like, for me, and I think for David as well, this is why Mantic are becoming, like, for us, they're like pushing everybody else out the way. They've got groundbreaking ideas like the Mantic Vault. This business, like, they're coming to the market saying, yeah, there are some great models out there made by these other companies. We're going to bring them into our game. So, like, fucking yes. Fucking yes.
Or again, Kings of War. Oh, you've got some cool 3D prints over there. Don't worry about that. They're welcome.
Yeah. Again, that's the key, isn't it? That is it, mate. Welcoming. They're a welcoming company with welcoming games. And again, the thing is, there's this verisimilitude, big word, I know, for this time on a Thursday night, but if anybody's
Fucking
watched
hell, did
any
you
of
eat the dictionary today?
Did I what?
Did you eat the dictionary
No, I
today?
read it. It was more constructive.
Fucking dad jokes.
What's his name? Ronnie did a video sort of introducing and advertising the changes to Firefight. You know what a video from Ronnie's like? It's all exciting. It's like watching a 4-year-old give a presentation on economic theory. It's all excitement and very low on detail. But one of the things that Ronnie says in the video, and it is a passing comment, but it's got there's this fucking honesty to it. He mentions Warpath and sort of says, we developed Warpath as a way to upscale Dead Zone, and it was a bit of a tip. It didn't really work. It wasn't quite what we wanted. And you just think, okay, fucking honesty, because Warpath wasn't very well received. It had some nice ideas in it, but it just didn't take off. And it's just those little things that you get from Mantic. It's like, again, talking to Ronnie at UKGE. It's just like a fucking normal human being, It's just nice.
He's definitely on the spectrum and got ADHD though.
yeah. He's great.
He's as mad as a box of frogs, and that's coming from me.
Yeah, he is funny. Bless him. But he's just infectious. In a crisis, you're probably not going to have him explain your way out of trouble, but fucking hell is he enthusiastic and fun. He's a great personality. Anyway, let's get on to our main topic. We're 10 minutes late, buddy.
Yeah, chat. Look, keep us in check next time.
Yeah, if you just shut up for a minute. Okay.
What started us on this? Oh, I remember me being salty about War Machine.
Okay, I'm gonna keep quiet. I'm gonna say nothing. The next 20 minutes is all David's. Okay,
oh fucking hell, Jesus H Christ! Where are we going? Where are we going?
Okay,
RNG.
Right. Okay, so I'm only joking, right? So
no. Because to be fair, as already discussed on and noted by several people in chat,
you talk. I'm going to find the Woods by Oakbound Studios.
That absolutely brought this to the forefront for us was Gloomhaven. We've started playing the scenario and the narrative campaign. We've had 2 sessions of it now, haven't we, Ginger?
Yep, 2 sessions, and I think we've played 5 games.
Yes, but how many scenarios have we got through? 1. Answers on a postcard, boys and girls, because fuck me, is that game difficult. So yeah, we noticed it with that, and then I commented on and said, oh well, actually, random when you think about it, when it comes to game design, it's something that can either be quite hard to balance, or there's the games that absolutely stand out because there's enough random in there that it is a chaos soup, looking at you, Frostgrave. But actually, it's only in small instances that randomness actually comes into play and actually compounds and is part of the game. The rest of it is actually a super tight, super slick rule set in the background, but it's always the narrative random D20 rolls that make you go home and tell stories of how an orc murder-hoboed a giant worm with a knife.
We'll come to that, Dan. We will come to that. So, I mean, David set the scene. This was all triggered by Gloomhaven. We've now had to grind through the first scenario 5 times, and we do not... I mean, we might sound like arrogant twats, and that's probably because we are, but David and I are not beginners. We've played a lot of games, and I don't think we're particularly shit or stupid at gaming. I think we've got a fairly tight grasp on how to find our way through a rule set, etc. But we have struggled with Gloomhaven like fuck. we did some internet research after our first session to find a better optimized two-party group to play with, because we're only playing with 2, not 4 characters. And people on the internet said, well, the problem is if you do that, you need to be careful about who you pick. So, yeah, we did that. We went back in with our new character set. We still got our fucking asses kicked. And we were like, okay, so we've literally turned it down to baby's first Gloomhaven level 0 difficulty. And doing that, with an optimized character pair, we completed the first mission and moved on.
Barely. Barely.
Barely.
Fucking barely.
So that was what got us thinking, because why is this happening? Why is Gloomhaven torturing our fucking souls? And we came to this conversation about randomness. Okay, so first of all, let's ask the question, why do we have randomness in games? Whether they be board games, card games, whatever. Why do we have randomness? Now, I would suggest there are a few reasons. The first, most obvious one is that if there are some elements to your game that are random, and I don't just mean necessarily interactions between models, but even story elements or whatever that are random, it increases the replayability and the variation of play. So,
Arkham Horror and Arkham LCG is a prime example here, because the monster deck is always in a different order, the headline deck that forms part of it is always in a different order, but what actually comes out and the random aspect of the game is actually all of the tokens in the bag.
Yeah.
And your dice.
Frostgrave is a brilliant example that you mentioned earlier, mate.
Yeah.
Although the missions are sort of scripted and will require to be played in a particular way, the treasure placement will always be different. The
terrain placement will be different.
The monsters that may spawn randomly when you pick up treasures, they'll be different monsters. They'll come at different times. And they might spawn in locations where they obstruct you gathering treasures. They might spawn in locations where they're just more of a hassle, in other aspects. These random elements make each game, or give the potential for the games to be unique and replayable, because it's all about replayability, isn't it, mate?
Again, I'm just thinking, what's a prime example of something? Some of these things that are becoming popular now, like the crime board games that you get, like the little box sets that you can do in an evening between a couple of friends, but once you've done it, it never changes. You know what I'm on about? The ones that we saw at the Games Expo that were 2 a penny everywhere.
Sorry, mate. Well, I was just reading the chat. What was that?
The crime games that we saw at UKG that you played like once, and then that's it done.
Yes, they're like a sort of escape room experience, but it's solve a crime using internet resources and mobile phones and websites and stuff. Those sort of things. Obviously, there's no randomness in those experiences. You just unwrap it, experience it, you're done with it. It's a one play and done. There is no replayability there. And obviously randomness helps to fix that problem. And that feeds into the value for money proposition. Darren makes a good point. Legacy games are a big problem. Because when you're designing it, if you modify and change the game as you go, you then can't go backwards and replay that. And if you do replay it, will it unfold differently or whatever? Because Gloomhaven has that, but that's not the problem.
Side quests and everything you unlock is completely and utterly random as you're going through based on the cards you drew.
Like when you experience a road event or a city event card, you make a choice, A or B.
Then it's burned.
Some of those cards are one play and then they're destroyed or removed from the game. So you will never get that city event again. You will never get to pick the alternative option. And if that means that you will never unlock side quest X, then you never unlock side quest X. Okay, so Gloomhaven has that, but that is not the problem with Gloomhaven, but we'll come to that. The other thing is, Darren sort of touched on it. Again, Frostgrave is the example. His friend doesn't like Frostgrave because it's swingy. Now, swingy, I would describe of swingy as dramatic tension. Wouldn't you, David?
Yes.
So you might have the ridiculous spiked dice that allows the nobody model to kill the enemy wizard with one random fucking strike that had no business doing that. Yes, that's swingy, but that creates a water cooler moment, or it creates a dramatic event within the game that people will remember. Okay? Randomness. Without randomness, the gaming experience is a very flat experience.
I'm going to make a point here about a game that we both played recently.
Yep, go on.
Hobgoblin.
Yes.
Whilst it is random with the dice rolls, it is very deterministic and rock, paper, scissors of this beats that and that loses to this.
That's true. That and that tightness feeds into a certain game style, which is of value, but it doesn't give you dramatic tension because there's no I mean, we think about Warhammer Fantasy Battle 8th edition that I played with V at the club a couple of weeks ago, I think it was.
Oh, the back and forth between the two of you.
The ridiculous events that happen there. He charges, my flamers basically gun down a big unit just on shooting flamers at him. Then he tries to cast a spell and his massive demon model just gets sucked into the warp. There goes your general. Fuck that. It's like, what? What the fuck just happened? How random.
Well, again, even determining the spells that you've got at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Totally random.
Again, in a more positive way. We're just rolling for magic for the turn. Suddenly a massive unit of demons appears in my back. It's like, what the fuck? What's going on here? And again, it keeps it exciting when you're playing because it's like, what the fuck's going to happen next? The other reason that I have down is random. When you have no randomness, let's take chess, right? I would say chess is probably the best example of a game that everybody will know. There is no randomness in chess. Okay? None. Zero. Only one thing plays a factor in determining the outcome of a chess match, and that is the individual player's skill. There are no other factors. If you are a better chess player, you will win against a worse chess player.
Yeah.
And because there is no room for oscillation, there are no mechanisms within that game to upset your plans or break your stride unless your opponent gives you them. Yeah? There's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay? And one of the things that randomness in a game does is it changes the topography a bit so that something... Now, we'll discuss this in a bit more in a bit, but basically, it doesn't just come down to player skill. Player skill if you've designed your game well, player skill should still be the most important and effective determinant of who wins.
But
40k, for example, whoever spends the right money on the right models wins.
Yeah. David should always have a chance of beating Goliath. The underdog should always have a chance, so long as it's not completely and utterly dog shit.
And even if it doesn't mean that you win, the randomness should give you a chance to give your opponent a tougher game than perhaps they were expecting or would be shown by the difficulty in ability. Does that make sense?
I'm the wrong colour tonight.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So... can you think of any more reasons why we have randomness in games, mate? Or do you think that covers it? Can anybody in chat think of another reason specifically why we would need randomness or have randomness in games? Because that's all I have.
Again, magic here is a good example. In standard or commander, however you build your deck is however you've built your deck. And it works and it synergizes well together, but the draw you get each time you shuffle is completely and utterly different. It's there to level the battle cruiser fucking whatever decks they are against the terrible decks. Because the terrible decks could get off to a flying start. The battle cruisers could fucking sink.
I mean, to be fair, though, in constructed Magic, particularly and by constructed Magic, for people who don't understand, in constructed Magic, the principle is you build your deck from the cards in your collection to a plan of your own design. That's what constructed means, okay?
Yeah.
In constructed Magic, I would say it's very close to chess. Because when the cards are on the table, apart from a few weird exceptions, there are no randomizers, there are no coin flips, there are no dice rolls. Card X will attack for X strength against card Y, which has B defense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything is deterministic from that point. The only randomness is the card draw from that deck.
Which is why I mentioned it as a good sort of example here of a game that does random, but does it well. Because it does help level and sort out the decks.
Oh, okay. Jerry's got a good one. So the fog concept. That's one thing that randomness will do. Because some events are random, or because the game might not unfold in the way that you foresee, it adds it can add a sort of like an element of unknown to it, which might mirror
fog of war. Something's happening, and then
good example,
actually
Jerry.
something's happened.
So, just to be clear, do games need randomness to be good games? Absolutely not. Chess is as old as the hills. It is a fantastic game of incredible skill, and it's a good game. I've enjoyed many years of chess. I used to play it more when I was younger, but it was probably the first proper game I learned. We had one of the early chess challenges, the computers, where you could play against a chess AI opponent. I remember having one of those in the early 80s when I was not very old at all, as a gift, because I was massively into my chess as a child. I started learning to play chess at primary school, which will surprise nobody, seeing what a massive fucking nerd I am. But yeah.
Did it come with a side of not talking to females as well?
Yeah. No, mate, that was the main. Chess is the side in that case. Social awkwardness is definitely the main cause there. So, yeah, it doesn't need randomness, but, and here comes the next one. We've already said that game randomness serves purpose within games, but it comes with some drawbacks, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So, for some of the negatives of randomness, and some of these apply to Gloomhaven, one of the first ones, you remember I said that in chess, player skill is the only determinant of victory. Now, the thing with randomness is that I'm not saying that by adding randomness to a game, you necessarily push down player skill as a factor. But unfortunately, one of the things that happens when you introduce randomness...
Planning goes out of the window.
Well, you add to the winning skill set a knowledge of probability theory and that sort of thing. Yeah. This is particularly... It's not always the case because it depends where the randomness appears. But if your randomness, for example, is in like a war game where it's about dice rolling and pooled dice rolling, okay? If you're able to quickly calculate your probability of success, I'm rolling 40 dice, hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s, he's got a save of 6+. Chances are I'm going to get 6 to 8 wounds. Is that enough? Do you know, that skill set becomes part of the winning. Okay?
Yeah, being able to, again, optimize your battlefield decisions and go, well, actually, if I shoot at this unit, I'm going to do 4 wounds. If I shoot at this unit, I'm going to do 15 wounds.
Yeah.
I'll take the 15 wound option, thank you.
Yeah, and it, obviously one of the drawbacks of randomness, and I'm going to say drawback in bunny ears, is that if you're a player who particularly finds that sort of thinking hard, you've just had somebody introduce a bit of an obstacle to your victory, because you're not going to be able to grok that shit on the fly like this guy is. Okay?
Well, Cheese Me's just made a point.
Yeah.
Math Hammer makes randomness boring again.
Yeah. Again, this is the thing, because if for every random event you put into a game, part of solving or deducing that event's impact becomes part of this victory skill set.
Yeah.
The other thing that can happen, and these things are particularly true when you overcook the randomness in your game. One of the things that can happen with randomness is it can completely rip your sense of agency away as a player. If you get the feeling that it doesn't fucking matter what I do, everything here is random anyway, why the arse am I bothering? That's a good sign that you've gone too far. And I don't know what you think, mate, but this is where we enter stage left, Gloomhaven.
Yes, and similarly, we have had bad games of Arkham Horror. Not to the same extent, because usually it's quite stable.
Yeah.
But when you get bad card draw, and again, this is all part of that RNG developing into it, you get bad card draw, you get monsters at the wrong fucking time, you get another fucking gate burst and anomaly, all of your fucking clues are buried under anomalies, you're getting mugged around the map by 15 different monsters. You do feel at that point of this fucking game, what did I do to deserve this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But it happens far less frequently in Arkham, in our experience so far, than the 5/6 of the games being mugged off with Gloomhaven.
Yeah. In Gloomhaven, we both ended up with the feeling, and I think it's fair to say this, I don't want to speak for you, mate, but by the end of our second session, one of the things we went away with was it's impossible to strategize, largely, because there are so many random things that happen. Like, the big thing for me, the big problem for me in Gloomhaven, if I explain, Gloomhaven is a cooperative game where you play against a monster AI. And each monster in the game has a deck of cards that you flip over once per turn. And it tells you what that group of monsters or bad guys will do this turn. So your archers during this turn are going to have their movement stat reduced by 1, make a move, then make a shoot adjusted by +1, and that's it.
And then the very next turn, they're going to stand there, durdle, have their shoot modified by +3, but not move to get anything in range.
Okay.
For example.
And then
do you know
the
what
next
I mean?
turn, they just poison you when they hit you for some no fucking apparent reason. And because this is random every turn, it's not, because the other thing that's tied to this is initiative. The order in which everything goes is changing every turn as well. Sometimes the monsters will have really no initiative and go first. Sometimes they'll have really high initiative and go second.
Yeah.
But they're always moving and acting in a completely random way that often has no intuitive sense. The order at which everything goes is completely random and determined every turn. And because everything's random and changes every turn, I mean, I'm sure we're going to get... feel free to engage in the comments and tell us we're twats, and the Gloomhaven isn't that hard, and you can plan and you can strategize. David and I have not found it to be this way. I'm afraid. And And for us, it's a sign that there's too much randomness going on.
Because again, not only have you got these different random effects that they're doing with their attacks, when they are then attacking, you flip a card. And when you flip that card, that then further modifies their attack to how much damage they are doing. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, I'll be honest, and it's easily fixable. What you should do in the order of events is flip the monster AI cards, then, as the players, strategize your turn.
Yeah. Orinoco said something. How close is the feeling of playing Gloomhaven to playing Snakes and Ladders?
It isn't that random. I think that's going a bit far. But unlike Snakes and Ladders is utterly random because it's roll and move. If you're lucky, you'll go flying up the board. If you're unlucky, you'll come crashing back down to the start. It's not that bad. But obviously, it carries a burden of massive complexity. Gloomhaven is a very complex game.
Because again, you're not meant to know what your compatriots are doing, where they're going in the initiative order, what they're planning on doing.
That's the other insanity. David and I play this game where we literally discuss everything with each other. We strategize like a pair of maniacs to try and get through it. And you're supposed to, for thematic reasons, keep your hand of cards secret and only give your friends subtle hints on what you might be planning to do this turn. How the fucking hell can you win that? It's like, well, I might be able to kill this guy, and I'm going fairly early in the round, so...
Or you just do what I do and go, yeah, I'm going to kill this guy.
You know,
Null.
It's like, no, okay, how much damage do you think you can output? Do you know what I mean? It's like, fucking hell. And even then, we can only just beat the game.
Yeah, or again, you just get a bad card, flip yourself, and get a null. That I did 4 times.
No, Limburger, the game state doesn't alter, and in fact, there's another randomness, right? So you've got, let's say, I don't know how many cards are in each deck. Let's say you've got 10 cards for each creature type. So like bandit archers have 10 cards, and you start flipping them when you've got bandit archers in your room, and this turn the bandit archers do this, and this turn the bandit archers do this. You don't even get through all 10 cards, because what will happen is some of the cards have a reshuffle symbol. So at the end of the turn, you take all of the things that they've done, shuffle it all up, and start again.
Or in the case of the archer deck, that's on like what, 50% of the cards?
I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are because I didn't look. But it's not even as if you can card count and plan and say, well, okay, they've done that poison attack. We're not going to see that for another 10 turns. Or they've done that attack where they disable us and pin us down. We're not going to see it. Because if you flip a reshuffle card the next fucking turn, well, here is the news. We're back to the start. And that happens with the decks that determine the randomizer. So unlike Gloomhaven doesn't have dice, Gloomhaven has a mini deck of cards of about 20 cards, and it's basically variations between +2, -2, and everything in the middle. There are two
+2, yeah, +2.
There are 2 outlier cards, one which zeros your attack and one which doubles your attack, and the monsters have an identical set of cards. But again, that has the reshuffle built into it. So if you flip your null, so you can set up a great turn, right, I'm going to do this area attack, I'm going to kill 3 of these blokes. Oh, I flipped a 0. I didn't kill the first one. And then I'll flip for the other 2. Oh, but the 0 has the reshuffle symbol, so I'll need to put that back in and reshuffle my deck. And then next turn, okay, well, let's plan it again. We've got to kill this bloke. Oh, shit, I flipped my 0. And it's going to reshuffle back in. It's like, no, what the fuck? At least with Malifaux, I've got a black joker. If I draw the black joker, I do nothing. But here is the news. I don't fucking shuffle my deck until the turn's over. So I know when the black joker's gone, at least it's gone. You know, I can make a plan now.
It's a 1 in 52.
1 in 54,
1 in
because you've got 52 plus 2 jokers.
Yeah.
But again, Once it's gone, now I can plan. I won't see it again. Anyway, we're getting a bit fucking heated here.
Look, we said it was going to be a salty one.
This one,
and we did start this off properly this evening with a lot of pre-warning salts. So
this
we're
is
going mining,
Gloomhaven
boys and girls.
This is another Gloomhaven one, and I think David will agree with me 100%, and it mirrors what I said at the beginning. One of the problems when your game is too fucking random is that you can't adjust the difficulty with any level of control.
Yeah, so we turned it down to baby training my first fucking rodeo Gloomhaven. Still, the monsters do crippling amounts of damage and we're just hitting them with handbags.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel really in control of this board game.
Using our optimized character duo with the starting cards we're permitted.
Yeah. About
and
that.
the recommended equipment loadouts.
About that. Yeah. Just No, but to give Gloomhaven their due, they know how broken the double and the nulls are, so they do just say treat them as an additional +2 and a -2 card. That is an optional rule.
Hang on. Yeah, I was going to say, that is a game variant. At the back of the rulebook, it says, for people who find this a little bit of a grind, you can treat them as +2 and -2 instead of null and ×2. But you don't take the shuffle symbol off.
No.
So it still resets your fucking deck. So if you've had nothing but -1s and 0s and had a series of really shit turns, here is the news. The deck just reset and you've got all that bollocks coming again. So you have no way to pay yourself back. You have no way to recover. I think it's a flaw.
The thing is, Paul, Gloomhaven is meant to be 2-player and more.
Yeah, it's meant to play 2 to 4, mate. It's designed that way. Now,
designed in the loosest sense of the word.
In fairness to Isaac Childress, this is one of his main reasons he's looking at 2.0 for Gloomhaven. Because having worked on Frosthaven, there are a lot of elements to Gloomhaven he is now not happy with. I don't know how Frosthaven differs because I haven't played it. I haven't got it to the table yet. I own it, but I haven't put it through its paces. So I don't know how much he's changing things. But I will give Isaac credit. I think he's aware of some of the issues, particularly with game balance and difficulty that are inherent to Gloomhaven. Yeah. So, the next section is on my sheet is good places which would be good places to use RNG in your game. Okay, there are some places where I think RNG is it's the thing that makes the game. Okay, one of the things I would put is combat resolution.
I'm just about to say something here.
Go for it.
Similarly to your combat res argument. Wild West Exodus uses the action deck, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
That's on my list.
Carry on, sir.
So, good places to use it. Combat resolution. Okay? I think having just that shimmer of randomness in the outcome of a confrontation, resolution of an event. Don't get me wrong. I attack with my 5-power monster or summoned creature in Magic. That's okay. I block with my toughness 5, absorb all the damage. That's it. Or I block with my toughness 1. And it's 5 versus 1. That dies. But that has a cleanness to it. But I think for miniature war games, a randomizer in those sort of interactions just adds that. It adds an essential spice. Would you say, mate?
Yeah, it comes back to that Frostgrave argument that we've already had, that the thief can kill anything if the thief tries hard enough and puts enough manpower into it.
That's an extreme example of swingy randomness.
No, but There's always that glimmer of hope. It is not completely deterministic that the thief getting mugged by a knight is going to die.
Yeah.
Do you see my point
No,
here?
I totally get it. Because I think one of the things that can kill your experience, and I know that the multi-award winning Moonstone is completely outside of this, because obviously I've only played it once, but as I understand it, and as I played it from memory, the cards, you pick a random card and put it against your opponent. The combination of those cards determines the combat outcome, but it's not
Yeah.
random. You chose that card, and your opponent chose
Their card.
their defending card. So Moonstone is a good example of a game that is still fun, but there's no randomness in there.
Well, again, it's
Presumably,
it's a
Darren's
randomness for
example
it's a random
is just as good.
randomness facade. Do you
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes,
It seems completely random,
but
but it
obviously
really isn't.
No, of course
because, like you say, it's two completely deterministic choices
Yeah.
being put against one another to give you a deterministic outcome.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
true,
that
Jerry.
randomness comes from the hand
no,
draw.
that is true, because you don't get to choose the hand that you play with. You just have to make the best of that hand. That's is a very good point, and I would have made it if I played more Moonstone and knew what the fuck I was talking about. But well said. But yeah, and again, I don't want to make this a black and white.
We're out to kick Gloomhaven.
But for me, combat resolution, a little bit of randomness, yes. Obviously, in Frostgrave's example, like David said, you've got massive fucking randomness. But that's fine because it leans into the game's whole design aesthetic and its whole sort of philosophy of experience. Do you know what I mean? That is what that game wants to do. If you had that swinginess in Infinity, you'd fucking hate it.
Oh yeah.
But randomness in combat resolution.
And actually, you've just mentioned Infinity. Here's a prime example.
Yep.
It's a D20.
Yep.
It is a little bit more random than a D6. We've
Yep.
been into percentages and stuff before. However, if your close combat ninja with CC 25 is going to go and stab a Securitate with CC fuck all,
Yeah.
it's only a very slim chance that it fucks up.
I mean,
Very
basically,
slim.
the Security Katate can always crit on one number on that D20 will always crit for you. So in Infinity, when you're rolling one dice, you always have a 5% chance of a critical success. So it doesn't matter how shit you are. If you crit and your opponent didn't, you win. So you've always got a chance. But again, Infinity has got such a tight dice mechanic that it doesn't feel random. It doesn't.
No, but
random.
Again, this is what I'm saying. It's done very well. Of the random, the RNG dev here, the dice.
Jerry's saying,
actually is just adding as a like you say, it's 5% chance the Securitate crits, but because the close combat beast wraps around, they've got like a 25% chance, 25-30% of critting
easily.
So it's very slim that the Securitate crits and the ninja whiffs.
And then if you both crit, it's a stalemate. So, do you know what I mean? Next one, low impact game flavor events, e.g. weather effects, for example.
Oh yeah, this is a good one actually. The hot water scenario for Armada.
Okay,
now you've mentioned it.
Tell us all about it.
Volcano in the center of the map. Anything within 12 inches of the volcano at the center of the map on the end of every round after round 2 needs to roll a d10. On an 8 or more, it gets hit by a piece of falling lava. Roll a d6 for your damage. If you roll a 1, you're on fire. Tough titties. It's random in that regard, but you've chosen to take the risk and go within 12 inches.
And presumably, the outcome of event, it's not like oh, I rolled a 6, my ship sunk, and I've lost like a 50-point vessel,
Yeah.
like that.
No, it's
Yeah.
roll a d10, 20% chance you're hit by some rocks,
Yeah.
d6 damage, unless you roll a 1 when it's 1 damage plus fire damage on top, but even that's still not more than 6. And 6 damage will not sink a vessel that has taken no wounds yet. Obviously, more damage stuff will, but that's your choice as the captain to go into there and risk it for a biscuit.
Again, there are ways you can plan and strategize around it, and I emphasize the words low impact in my statement. What I said was low impact game flavor events, which could be scenario specific, because if again, it might be, look at the weather table in Blood Bowl. Okay, the bad rolls on the weather table in Blood Bowl will rarely swing a match one way or the other. A, because both players are equally affected, and B, it'll probably change anyway, because change of weather is the most common fucking dice roll on the table for the kickoff. It's a good place to put randomness if it can just zhuzh things up a bit. The monsters.
I think you've just made a very good point here on random, and obviously what we're talking about at the moment, about the fact that it affects both players equally.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right, sir. That sort of crept in, because that's crucial. If one player is a victim of huge randomness and the other isn't, that's going to feel like utter shit.
And again, we come back to it because I am always a victim of spiked dice, or I always seem to think I'm a victim of spiked dice.
I'm sensitive.
I either do really well or fucking terribly. They're my two options when it comes to playing a game. I'm either rolling all 6s or all 1s, for example.
Yeah.
So I'm very susceptible to it. And when I'm having an absolutely fucking terrible game, and my opponent's rolling like a beast, not even just rolling average, rolling like a complete and utter fucking demon, and rolling all the 6s when I can only roll 1s, there's major feel-bads for me in that game because it's not affecting us equally. And I know if I'm that guy, I can pick up his dice, roll his dice, etc. And occasionally I do. And I still fucking roll 1s because dice.
Yeah.
But it's a thing.
This what I come back. It's what I said earlier though. Randomness. When randomness makes you feel like you couldn't do anything to stop it or help, it's too much.
Yeah, Darren's made a good point here. Rolling's charging 40k. Yeah, completely and utterly fucking pointless in my opinion. I've failed fucking 3-inch charges.
Yeah.
It's like I should be in, but I've failed it, for fuck's sake.
Another example of low impact game flavour events is the monsters in Frostgrave, I think.
Yeah, they wander in and...
They have no partisanship. They will attack both parties equally. They appear with such randomness that, you know, it can literally just go anywhere and do anything and be any kind of monster. But again, it is always possible to play Frostgrave where you just pick up the box and run the fuck away. So they never interfere, or rarely do they interfere with the actual playing of the game to the point where it's frustrating. Do you know what I mean? Do you think that's fair?
Yeah.
So, funnily enough, Darren's getting ahead of us. My next one of what I consider to be a good use of it is determining initiative or player order. I can't think of an example of random, say like bolt action's a great example, where you've got random activations. You've got no fucking idea who's going to go when. But
yes, the dice mechanic bag is fucking awesome because
it makes it interesting. But I don't ever remember feeling frustrated by it.
Yeah, I remember one game when you were absolutely fucking screaming about it. And that was a game where I'd activated like 75% of my units and you'd activated one.
Okay.
But the redeeming factor is I'd activated 75% of my units, Paul had only activated one of them, and then Paul had 4 units on the bounce.
Yeah. And this
Because
is
of
why I
the
think randomness
probability
is fine.
changing from that bag.
Yeah, and this is why I think randomness is fine, because regardless of who goes first, you will all get to use all of your assets eventually. Do you know what I mean? And those game assets, miniatures, counters, whether it's cards, do what they're supposed to do anyway.
I've got
just
feel
the
bads
order
here
was
for
random.
determining an initiative.
Sorry?
I've got a feel bad here for determining an
Go on,
initiative. From the fact that it's so deterministic, not random. Bot war. And the weight of your robots determining who goes first.
Yeah. Yeah. That, because effectively it's fixed by the model's structure and class, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
From our memory. So like certain... And again, I suppose it's to represent slow light bots go first, big heavy bots go last.
Yes, which makes sense thematically.
But
from the game we played, we did not. Well, even you commented after that game, going,
I'll be honest.
You can break this.
To be fair, we don't even need to go that obscure to come up with an example of why fixed initiative after the initial determination.
Again, the I go you go system is terrible compared to alternating activations.
It is extremely vulnerable to you being beat down, because like in 40k for many editions has had problems with Alpha Strike, where whoever wins the first turn, they go first, smash a load of their opponent's assets, their opponent has less to reply with. Because of that, when they go first again in turn 2, they're stronger than their weakened opponent, they smash everything, and from that first turn die roll, the snowball is already rolling. And 40k has always had a problem. It's just how quickly
can you slow it down?
For as long as 6th edition, 40k has had an issue with this, and it is because of the I go, you go thing.
Is it really sad? Because obviously we've got the MetaWatch data for 40k on what factions are doing good and what factions are doing bad. That I would be interested to see on that data how many percentages of those were turn 1 players versus turn 2 players.
Oh, that is a fucking good question. Yeah, I wonder if they even gather that data. So what you're saying is like,
what's an Alpha Strike army versus what's a bit more resilient?
Yeah.
Because if a lot of that percentage on MetaWatch is coming from a turn 2 player, they're quite a resilient army versus a
let's assume if you don't track that data, probability would say it's 50-50. So like,
hopefully,
of your reported results, 50% of the results were the person you're looking at was the second player, 50% of the time the person you're looking at or the faction you're looking at was the first player. So it should come out in the wash. And I'll be honest, I don't know what the numbers are, but I imagine 40k deals with such a massive volume of data, that probably does go.
But doesn't that only track win rates?
No, but if you don't win, you lose. So that drags your faction down.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, how many of those 75% wins came from being first player versus being second player?
And that's
do you see my point here?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If you assume, let's take Space Marines.
Yes, but assumptions make an ass out of you and me.
If you assume that of all your Space Marine results that were posted, you'll have a certain win rate. You will assume that half of them were first player, half of them were second player. I understand what you're saying. It could be that all of the first player ones were the winners and all of the second player ones were the losers. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes.
And I'm saying you could be right, but it doesn't matter because still that faction only won 50% of the time. Obviously, again, if that faction posted a 75% win rate, does it matter if it went first or second? It won 3 out of 4 games it played in.
True.
Do you know what I mean? So assuming that the probability was even, 50% of the winners were going first, 25% of the winners were going second, and they still fucking won. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can see why it's data they don't track.
Yeah, but...
Although it is interesting. Right, let's get on to bad places to use RNG. And I only have one example. And this is drawn from my experience of Frostgrave and Wild West Exodus that David just mentioned. Determining either what actions a model takes or how many actions a model takes based on the random flip of a card is not a good way to use random.
No, I'm with you on this because there was feel bad times I suppose... Doesn't Wild West Exodus get around this by you draw the action card, then you pick the miniature you're activating with?
I think so, yes.
So
if
it's
you
not
draw
quite
one,
so
you
feel
can pick
bad.
a flunky and say he's just going to move.
Yeah.
Job done.
But if you keep drawing ones, your leader, who should be hitting like a freight train, should be getting more.
Now, we haven't played a ton of Wild West Exodus. I don't necessarily think that this is an experience that mars Wild West Exodus, but it's definitely a massive fucking problem in Gloomhaven. The flipping those random cards so that every turn the AI behaves completely fucking differently, I don't see the point. Just give
Darren's
them...
just asked you a point.
What?
When would that be in Frostgrave?
What do you mean?
For determining the actions that a model gets, because everything gets 2 actions.
It doesn't happen in Frostgrave.
Yeah, but you mentioned Frostgrave. That's why Darren's confused.
What do you mean? Did I?
You said Frostgrave and Wild West Exodus.
I meant Gloomhaven.
Go back and look after...
Sorry, Darren. I meant... Gloomhaven was the word I meant to say. I might have said Frosthaven. Frosthaven may have been on my brain. I did not mean Frostgrave. I meant Gloomhaven and Wild West Exodus is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Thank you for picking that up. Yeah. No. It's just too much. It's something that I don't think you can leave to randomness, and if you do, it just creates chaos. Because you've got no idea what you can do with your game assets during a gameplay. For me, I'm not saying it can't work, and put in the comments.
I'll tell you one that treads a very fine line.
Yeah, go on.
But not for activations, but for scoring opportunities.
Okay, this could be another good example.
Underworlds. Because even though you've built your deck, because it's completely random on the draw in your hand, and yes, you do have a mulligan option to get a better hand at the start.
They fixed that, at least.
You still run into the issues of, well, I've drawn this card, which is a perfect turn 3 score, and I'm in turn 1.
Yeah.
Well, I'll fuck that off, and I'll mulligan and I'll go again. Oh, look, I've got all the shit ones that I can't really achieve until turn 2.
Yeah.
I'm stuck with it now.
To be fair, if you play constructed Underworlds, you can take all of those scoring the 3rd turn cards out of your deck.
Yes,
which a
but
lot of the competitive players do.
The point still is, though, Paul.
I know, I get your point, mate. I'm just being devil's advocate.
It's the random nature of the card draw affects your play for the turn, what you do for the turn, and what you're doing. Because you can completely pivot and go about face just because you've seen a different scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, a good example of this might be the use of the old Maelstrom of War cards in 40k. If you just drew shit cards that
I was never a fan of Maelstrom.
if you drew cards that you had no chance scoring and your opponent just kept drawing sitters, welcome to a game where you scored 40 to 10. And why? Just because the random secondary objectives were shit for you. Kill a Psyker, he hasn't got one. Kill a Flyer, he hasn't got one. And you know, this was what in Maelstrom of War originally, you couldn't just, unless you house ruled it, you couldn't just bin things that you couldn't score. At least in their new 10th edition version, it specifically says in the rules, if a card cannot be scored under any circumstances against your opponent in the current game state, bin it off, draw another one. Which is great. It's what it should always have been. But
Yeah, it
no, I
should be.
agree. You know, there are some places where you need to keep the randomness out or keep it to an absolute fucking minimum. And the win conditions, I mean, I've only played with them once, but this idea of the gambits in 40k 10th edition, where if you're having a shit game, you can go for this ridiculous Hail Mary play in turn 3 that scores you 30 points. For me, it's just, I looked at them in the game we played and I'm like, why would I fucking bother? They're just so difficult and so random. It's not really helped. If I'm having a bad game, my game just got worse.
I've got another reason why random isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Whether it be based on a dice, whether it be based on a game or whatever. If the playtime on your game is of a sensible length, an hour or less is what I'm caveating this with, because 90% of my games that I play are at club. If the playtime on your game is an hour or less and it is completely and utterly fucking random.
Yes, this is a very good point.
It does not matter because you've still got another 2 hours to re-rack, go again, and enjoy that fucking marvellous game of chaos.
Yep.
Because you want to turn your brain off for 3 and a bit hours.
Yeah, no, that is a very good point. That is a brilliant point, in fact. Randomness, again, this rounds the conversation out nicely. Well done, mate. We may have sounded for the last hour like we were saying fucking randomness is the dog shit and it should be taken out of all games. Blah, blah. Absolutely not. David's just hit the nail on the head. Sometimes you want, with the beer and pretzels is the phrase, isn't it, mate? Sometimes you want to sit down, chuck some dice, not give a shit. Just, whoa, hey, look at that. That was a laugh. And do you know what? If it only takes you an hour, fucking do it again. Do it again. Do it again. It doesn't matter. But if you're investing 3 to 4 hours of your day, plus prep, setup, planning, model painting, assembly, army building, and it's a fucking random dice chuck, nah, I'm out.
Fistful of Lead was a prime example of a game that was like, okay, this is random as fuck, but actually we like the random.
Yeah, it was definitely not the worst game I've played, and it was it Fistful of? Which one did we play? We preferred the one we played at Dicene.
We preferred Ruthless.
Ruthless did seem a better rule set, but Dead Man's Hand wasn't the worst. I mean, it's a game I'd definitely play again. It was fun, and it didn't outstay its welcome, which was fine. So Darren's got Space Weirdos. He's just like that.
Choose me, but if you've only got an hour to play a chaotic game, maybe a bit too much. I think a lot of that depends on the personality. Choose me, and if you are just having an hour and you want to just hook some dice and have some fun and just not give a flying fuck about it, all for the chaos. If you want to get a little bit invested and you've only got an hour to play, there are plenty of other good games out there that will play in an hour or less and are not completely and utterly random and chaotic as fuck. But you have to go out and be careful about what you're picking and what you're getting yourself in for.
I mean, there are some really tight thinky board games that you can play in
Everdell.
You know,
Slightly more than an hour, but Everdell you can play pretty quickly.
And obviously, again, it's what David said. It depends what you want. You know, no, we're not saying that small gaming experiences don't have to be an exercise in random nonsense. You can have tight, compact, short game experience. I love standard Magic or modern Magic.
Yeah, that 15, 20 minutes of a game, but you can re-rack and go again, and you can re-rack and go again, and you can re-rack and go again.
You know?
Spend an entire evening doing that.
Particularly if you're playing with tuned decks and playing a format like modern on a budget or something like that. Games are over in 10 minutes. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, you've got this. Rack them again. Let's go. Let's go again. And they're not necessarily random experiences. Some of the decks you can build in those in Magic the Gathering are tight machines. They will deliver on an outcome. Once you learn how to play them, it's like, no, I know exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, mate, we are 10 past 10.
You can't read the clock properly.
I managed to get a little bit of skin tone on, and that's about all I did.
I've got all my tanks primed black, and before I head to bed this evening, I'm going to put grey on them.
And everybody's glad of that, because they haven't had to sit entirely 2 hours through your fucking airbrush. Before we go, I will just put this on screen. This is what Darren's been harping on about. And I am going to go away and have a good old dig and poke when the stream ends. But it does look very intriguing. The Woods 2nd edition core rulebook by Oakbound Studio. Haven't got a clue beyond this what the hell this is, but it looks very intriguing.
Did I find my towel yet? I'm not going to curse this stream. But I'm thinking something, and if somebody doesn't say it, I am surprised. And I think on that note, we should go before they get opportunity, Paul.
Well, no, because you've got to sign off. Right, we hope you enjoyed the stream, everybody. Good tip, Darren.
The airbrush is preferred to the sanding.
Fucking David's ASMR. So, for what I thought we'd do is, if we have a whip round, I'm going to start a GoFundMe page to buy David a really shit microphone so it won't pick up anything. Anyway, we're waffling again. Thank you very much for being here. We hope you enjoyed the show. We thank, as we always do, we have to thank the chat. You guys are amazing.
Okay, Jerry's just piqued my interest.
But
wait until Sunday's show.
Right. If you can only find time to do one thing tonight, please click your like button. If you can find time to do any of the other things that are listed on the screen in front of you, please do them. It all helps with the interaction, helps with the YouTube algorithm. The most useful thing you can do is share us on your social media feed, send us to, link to a friend, somebody who you think might enjoy this sort of nonsense and cobblers, because video content like this is not really... its true home is not on YouTube. So if you can do that, we greatly appreciate it. As I was trying to say a minute ago, kudos to everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome, and you always make these shows for me and David. If you're joining us later on YouTube, we thank you, and please comment below. Tell us about randomness in games, things you love, things you hate.
I was about to say, what I want to hear is... when random has given you that water cooler moment, and I want to know your water cooler moments.
Yeah. When did random give you the gaming experience that you think, yes, this was fucking hysterical, but awesome at the same time. And with that, I think it's time to go and relax and wind down. And if you don't, for the rest of you, enjoy your week. Get some hobby done.
Can I just say something before you cut away?
No.
Please?
Yeah, go on.
And I just need you to end it as soon as I finish this sentence, okay?
Okay, I'm ready.
No one has said what about Assassin's Creed.
No, he did in the beginning.
Did he?
Cheesy said it was the
I didn't
first
see.
comment,
I didn't.
literally.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I didn't see that.